kind of how we start the tank or how we get it ready. So what you want to do is you're going to take all of your gravel that you have, and if it's come straight from the store or out of the tank previously, you need to bake it. So what we do is we get some cookie sheets, and they're stuck together. We get some cookie sheets and we fill it full of gravel, and we'll just stick it in the stove in the staff room, and we'll bake them. If they're already dry, it doesn't take too long. You just need to heat them really high temperature, get them really, really hot.
Yeah, what did we put it at, like 400?
Yeah, we had it like 400.
For how long?
And the purpose of that is to...
You're basically getting rid of all of what could disease your tank. You're getting rid of all the germs, all the bacteria. Okay?
How long
So,
did you bake them?
when they're wet, it takes...
We bake them when they're wet because we do it right when we dump the tank.
Okay.
And our tank was initially set up by a tank company, so they came out and did all of this for us. But we just fill that pool and we can go in and stir it until it stops smelling like a fish tank. So that's
Yeah,
it.
we just kind of go by smell. When it's not smelling anymore, you're good.
I mean, it stinks, you know, but we open it up and stir it and move it around. And we got them all baked in one day, I think, last year. 'Cause
Yeah.
we were all just running
We
up and down
just-
the steps checking.
Anytime we went down to the factory room, we took another wet tray of gravel. So when you empty your tank, that's the best time to do it, so that your gravel is ready to go. And then we put our gravel in a clean washed, no soap, but a clean washed out bucket. And then it just sat. Our clean gravel sat all summer. And then we poured it in here when we were ready to begin setting up the tank. Okay, so that was the first thing that we did. All right, so just to talk about a little bit of your components. This is your chiller, and ours is at 52, and you want to stay in between 50 and 54, I believe, 50 and 54 degrees. So ours just sits at 52 all the time. It's got 2 hoses running out of it, an intake and an outtake. And your intake is sucking your water out of your tank, cooling it, and then putting it back into the tank. So this water is super cold. It's really fun working in here when you've got your hands in here for a really long time. Mr. Pendleton added this centimeter strip, and it's just as your fish get larger, your students can come and observe it and say, oh, week 1 we're still in our egg stage, week 2. So they can measure their fish and take science notes, statistics on your fish. You've got your oxygen feed that the fish need. When you don't have oxygen running through your tank, then your fish don't do as well. They will die.
It's an air pump, right? Not
Right. It's just a pump right here.
Mm.
There's a pump right here, and it just pumps oxygen into your tank.
air.
It's just pumping
Yeah,
air.
air. Yeah. Oxygen.
Wow.
Okay. So up here you've got a sponge. There's a sponge right here. You've got some charcoal pads in the back.
It's in that rectangle.
Yeah, so there's 2 of them and they're just laying on top. When you first open these up, make sure you run these charcoal packs through the water until it runs clear. Because if you put the charcoal pack in here before doing that, it kind of turns your water a little bit milky gray, black. So when you open these up fresh out of your box and you're getting ready to put them in your tank, run them underwater until the water runs clear. And then they're just sitting, I'll show you the basket. Ours is a little sticky. So the basket's just sitting back there. You've got your sponge, your charcoal packs. Just
Tell me
sitting
about
back
the
there.
sock for that, because the first year all our fish got
Yeah.
sucked into that.
Okay, so this is basically cleaning any gunk that you have in your tank that might be floating around. Fish poop, grass seed. Our 3rd graders put some grass seed in and it was trying to filter it out. Anyway,
And it sprouted, right?
it sprouted, yes. So when I come in to clean the tank we do it on the short day. on our short date, I'll take this all apart, I'll rinse it and run it under cold water, and then just stack it back up the way it is, and then slip it back in. So you're just rinsing, rinse these, rinse your sponge.
What is that whole thing called?
It's a filter.
It's part of
It's
the
the
filter.
filter. Yeah, and then it just spins back.
So Nicole, the water is circulating through, whoops. The water is circulating through that filter system.
Right.
It's like a waterfall filter that goes up the top.
Yeah.
And you see that long skinny,
So this right here is what is sucking in your water to your filter so that it can clean it. When your fish, this is really powerful. When your fish are little, they'll actually swim up close to it and get stuck to it. And when they're tiny, they can get sucked up into the system and die. So
which happened a lot our first year.
how do you prevent
you'll
it?
either,
Well, we have a sock.
yeah, we have this, and we have this. So again, before you put anything in your tank, always rinse it. Make sure that,
And I take them home and I wash them in my washing machine.
yeah. So we have two. I prefer this one.
I do too.
Did you just use a piece of nylon hose?
We have tried all sorts of different things. The sock is the best thing.
Just a sock?
Yeah, we tried cheesecloth before we got
What
the
is
sock.
Uh,
It's a sock.
They call it a filter sock.
It's a filter sock. You can
Oh.
buy them at
Pet
So
store?
they-
a pet store.
Okay, I didn't,
Or they'll
Anyway,
have
so
dead
they-
fish.
okay, filter sock,
They-
all right.
Fit over this, like this. And then I just wrap the cord up above on there's a little point back here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I just wrap it over
And
that.
the fish have to get quite big, like about like this, to not
Yeah.
get sucked. They'll get sucked to it, they won't get sucked in when they get bigger, and then their bodies just warp and they die right there stuck on the fish.
So don't take your sock off until your fish are like 4 or 5
We
centimeters.
kept testing it last year and we kept killing fish.
Huh.
Okay, so this is part of your chiller. This is the intake.
But tell them why that's.
Yeah, okay, so initially, this is kind of acting funny. Initially, when we first started our tank, this was sitting on our gravel. And what we've noticed over the few years that we've done it is that the fish think it's a fantastic hiding spot. And they'll go hide underneath down here, except when they're little, they stick to it and they just get stuck down there and they can't swim away. So it's kind of a death trap. So this year, our custodian, who thinks he's the father of the fish, he's really cute. He elevated it. These are just zip ties and a PVC pipe, so that they're not going to get stuck under there.
Last year, our water got really, really murky, like our numbers were okay, but we couldn't figure out why, and we lifted that up.
We
and
lifted
all
this
these
up
dead
and there
fish
were
in
like
Oh.
a lot of dead fish. Anyway, so this also requires a sock to keep your fish from getting sucked into
What's
your.
that called, the chiller intake? So,
This is your intake.
Did you get that from the pet store also, a sock for the chiller
You should
intake?
get that.
They gave them,
Yeah.
the refund people who put up the tank,
You should
brought
get
them
it with
after
your
our
tank.
fish got sucked in.
We'll have to look into that. I don't know whether the chillers are gonna come with that or not, but if not,
I don't
We'll
think
just
it's
have-
what it comes.
Yeah, you'll
well,
need.
that intake is part of the chiller system.
Right, I have a chiller thing.
Okay,
And I-
so another really important thing is when you're putting this on your intake, you're gonna wanna make sure that you cinch this down super tight, because if they can get in there at all, they're dead. So I'll just show you how this goes on.
I'm sure. And my advice is when it's your turn to do the tank, or if you're gonna do tank, wear short sleeves.
Everything will get wet, right?
Yeah.
Everything.
Intake watches off.
Yeah.
We could just use regular water, right?
Yeah, we'll show you how to do that too.
And you need to dechlorinate it by just letting it sit.
No,
No?
no, we just add the.
We'll show you.
Oh, you add the dechlorination with
Yeah,
it?
because if we just let it sit, kids throw things in it, fruit flies get in it.
Right, I did buy you some cheesecloth, so that you can put it over the top of the
Oh,
pan.
to
To
keep
keep
it
stuff out of it.
That's it. We have found that cat litter for water, and we can have the desalinator.
Oh,
Works
desalinator.
better for us.
I don't know that I have
Can I help you?
Sure, that's great.
What do you want me to do? Just this whole elevated thing is gonna, you're gonna
Get
get
it in the way.
If you could just hold it for me so it doesn't fall on the tank.
We just glue it in.
All right, so
Nice sturdy squid, right?
when you get this on, you're gonna wanna cinch this down like super, super tight. And then I just tie it in a bow. So you can undo it later.
So that's
Yeah.
something that would take off and clean sometimes?
Yes,
Yeah, it's a rinse out
every
thing.
week.
Okay.
So,
And the same with the sock on the air pump.
Yeah, and what we usually do is, this holds in the neck over it.
ooh, this stool is funky. Do you want me to get you?
Some of your fish.
it. It doesn't have a cap on one of the legs.
Okay, so. So make sure it's super tight, that your fish can't swim and get in there. And then this is gonna be something that you'll take off and rinse out every week when you do your tank cleaning.
And I told her, like, we cover the other one, the skinny one, it goes to the waterfall filter with a net. We just hold that. This one I don't cover when I'm cleaning it.
So the fish don't get in.
Yeah, so like, let's say we had fish swimming in here. Can you see how our net back there has already picked up some floaties that were in the tank? So when it's my turn, like we share the tank, and so when it's my week, I come in the early mornings right before school starts. And if you've got little guys in there, they'll get sucked in while you're cleaning. So you just take a small net and you'll just take this off. And then while you're cleaning it and rinsing it, you're gonna wanna place your small net over it.
And sometimes you need a friend to help you.
Yeah, sometimes we do. We have a friend to help us hold stuff. Barbara, I don't know what that person. Yeah, usually there's two of us. So then I just pull it out, and you can see it's already been collecting things in the tank. That's from the charcoal.
And you just wash that once a week,
Yeah, no, we do this twice a day,
twice a week.
morning and
Or
afternoon.
sometimes just once.
Both
I do it
socks?
twice.
Do you wash both socks twice a day?
No, I just want that.
I do this one once a week, and I do this one twice a day. The more you do this one, the less cloudy your tank will be. We just put it right back on.
Oops. It's a little
That's gonna be
complicated,
the
isn't it?
death of us.
That's not gonna be any fun, but
I wonder if we can really mount it.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will.
Anyway, okay. So now to clean.
Hold on, how big did you say that the fish needed to be before you can move that other sock?
Before you can take off any of your socks at all, your fish need to be at least.
So once
4.
they're bigger, we can take off the other one
Right,
too?
because they're strong enough not to get.
They're strong enough to swim away
About
from.
4 centimeters, you said?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They're strong enough to swim away from the current that it's creating. Alright. We, at the very beginning, when we set up our tank, we thought it would be cool to have like decorative pieces in the bottom of our tank. It just creates dirt collection, and it creates a place for your fish to die. Honestly. So just keep it basic. Don't throw any large things in there with them, because it's just hard. It'll be harder for you to take care of and clean.
While you're on that subject, the representative from Cache County, they have 7 tanks. He recommended, when you put the gravel on the base, leave a section free of gravel. And that will be like a marker to let you know how much sediment is building up in the tank. And it's a little easier if you have a section at the bottom of the tank that's just clear. It doesn't have to be big, but just clear, so that gives you some indication of how clean or dirty the tank is.
You could.
Isn't the gravel optional anyway?
Well, you know, there's been a debate about that, Lane, and it's probably better to put the gravel in at least half the tank, if not 3/4 of the tank, because the fish actually use it for resting. The little fish,
So does it support them?
well, they can sit on the gravel, they can actually be somewhat supported, and when they're really small, otherwise they have to keep swimming, because they probably won't rest on the glass on the bottom of the tank, but they will rest on the gravel.
And we've noticed once the fish hatch, they kind of tend to
They go to the
they go to the
spots.
they go to the coolest spots. Usually they love the corners, things like that. So they kind of gather wherever it's coldest. Sometimes right underneath the cold, which is right here.
Oh, and last year was in the corners.
Yeah. So those will be the dirtiest spots in your tank, wherever they're deciding is the coolest place to hang out. Sorry, that has 2 different.
Yeah.
So I just have to laugh at my own jokes. Okay, so yeah, so now we're gonna talk about what the 4 of us do when we come in to change the water at the end of the week. So, we used to get really exact, like we would fill up an entire bucket. We were like really nervous about how much water we were taking out. Then we realized if your tank is full to your black line, if you go down about 3 inches, you're good. So I'm going to show you how to pull water out of the tank. Okay. So this is your vacuum, your tank vacuum, and you can create a siphon with it, so it'll vacuum out the water. So to prepare, depending on how
I wouldn't
close
put it
your
in this sink this time with that thing across the top of the tank.
Yeah, so depending on how close your sink is, you can just put a bucket on the ground.
If we have no sink in our classroom,
Right.
just use the bucket.
You can just use your bucket,
But I wouldn't fill it up all the way against
but
the
don't
sink.
fill it, don't do it in stages, do it like halfway, go empty it, do it half, because it's so heavy.
Okay.
Do you have like a slot sink and a custodial closet? You
Yes,
dump it
around
in?
the
That's
corner.
what I would do.
Okay.
I wouldn't try and pick it up and dump it in.
Okay, so
Oh, I have to spill it all over.
the fish,
Right.
when they're eggs, it's fine to clean, be really free cleaning. But when they're in the tank and they're swimming, they think what you're cleaning out is food, and so they're all over you because they can see the little particles that you're sucking up. So you have to really, really be careful to not suck up fish.
Into a bucket. Because
So-
if they suck into the bucket, you can just take it and put it back
Yeah.
in. I've done that.
So what I do is, this is where having a partner to help you really comes in handy. So I just put the bucket next to my tank. Well, okay.
Do you know what I mean? We're gonna just not do
Sure.
that. You talk about it.
Okay, so you just put your bucket next to your tank and have a buddy, a teammate hold it for you, or a kid, Students are good
You can
too.
do that.
I might,
I don't trust them to
I would elevate it just a little bit because this isn't as the.
I mean, it would be great if it was too cold for them to swim.
Okay, so you don't have to suck on this.
I do, and then I
Suction.
clean it.
Okay, but you don't, okay? So here's how.
You can trick your colleagues into doing it.
You can trick your colleagues, tell them they need to suck on it.
It's clean,
too.
suck
That's
on
why
it.
we have rolling out.
Well, they have self-starters too, right? That one should be a self-starter if you just tap in the water. It will
It's
create the
not.
siphon.
Okay, so
She's good at doing it.
what you do is you're just going to submerge the entire thing into the water. And you're gonna run your tube until you don't have air bubbles. So my end of the tube's right here right now. But it's not gonna start because you haven't created the suction. So you're gonna get all your air bubbles out of your tube, best that you can. And then you're gonna put your thumb over your tube. And you're gonna make sure that this end is down in. Too far away. And then you hold your thumb, and we're gonna place it into the net, so in case you do suck up a fish, you can just put him back, okay? That's why you don't wanna go directly
To a sink.
to a sink, because he'll just go down, the fish will go down the drain. So this is actually, you guys can get up and look at this, it's actually pouring in there.
Back in the rock.
Okay, so now that you've got your suction going, if you watch when I touch into this rock, you've actually got a suction going. And so you'll just very gently go through your rocks, kind of methodically. And you'll notice when it's really dirty because the particles, it'll show up in your tube. And I just let it clear out, and then I'll start another section, and I'll just go all the way back.
Do you have bigger pebble-sized rocks, or?
I
Again,
don't think it matters.
Okay.
yeah.
The ones I bought are bigger.
Okay,
They're like the
that's
size of jelly beans.
kind of what I thought.
Do the bigger ones work with the vacuum though? I mean, do they kind of
Yeah, they
sift
won't
up
get-
like
they won't
that
get
or?
sucked up
They're
as
better
much.
with the
They don't
vacuum.
suck, yeah, they don't suck up as
Okay.
much. And then make sure you get into your corners, because that's where your fish are gonna be hanging out, your corners, anywhere where there's somewhere to hang out by. You're just gonna methodically go through your entire tank, all the way down. And you can see that the water's draining for about
What is this little thing called?
the vacuum.
Vacuum?
Uh-huh.
Gravel back. usually
Yeah,
is what they're
gravel
called.
vacuum. So you're just gonna go all the way through your whole tank. And you'll probably have to pause in between because
Oh, you got rocks.
your hand is freezing.
What do you do if you get rocks?
So they're in the net, so you can just put them back in.
Or sometimes you just.
I'm done with these, I'll throw them out.
Yep, so you'll just go all the way through. And you'll probably have to at one point scoot down.
Are we done?
Move your
You done?
stool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be heavy.
Alright, so put your thumb back over it. Well, I don't want to kill my suction because we're going to keep going. This is our dirty. So it's halfway full right now. So we're going to dump it. Ugh.
But typically, you wouldn't dump what's in that net back into the tank.
No, but I had rocks in there.
There was
I
rocks
put
in
some-
that.
I know, but typically, like when you're doing it, because then isn't that what has all the?
Actually, all the stuff is in the bottom.
Okay.
Because
What's
it's
the
so-
net with the fish?
The net might have fish, and usually the particles are small enough to fall through the net while it's holding the rocks and the fish. So, okay, so we're gonna keep going. I might actually have to switch sides. So anytime you have to come over this bar, just keep your thumb over that way you can keep your suction that you had going. And then you'll just continue to clean. So, thanks. Ooh, I broke it.
No, I didn't.
So anyway, you'll do that, and then you're gonna do it until you're about, it's about 3 inches. It's about 5 gallons.
3 inches from the black.
From the black.
And you're doing this once a week?
Once a week.
Once a week, we change out 5 gallons, we change out 1 tenth of a gallon.
Yeah, once a week, 5 gallons come.
And don't ever change out more than 5 gallons, you
Yeah.
will kill your fish.
If you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cloudy in there, it looks so nasty, I'm gonna drain it down. I'm gonna drain it down this far. Don't do it, it'll shock your fish, because they're not used to the water being so super clean.
But we have done water changes on Friday and on Monday to try and get our, like, pH back and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You just don't wanna do more than 5 in a day, because it literally,
It'll kill your
5
fish.
gallons?
more
Yeah.
than 5
More,
gallons.
more than about a tenth of your tank.
So anyway,
At our meeting in November, didn't we say that it was better to clean it every day, 5 gallons every day?
You know, that's what Suzette said, but
Okay.
I'm, I
Not
don't
sure
know.
about it. So
We've
you
had
guys
really
do
good success with our
Monday and
fish.
Friday.
This
We
tank
do
here at the
Friday.
school, I think you've hatched about, you actually released somewhere about 60 fish,
We released about 80 or 90
80 or
last
90
year.
fish. That's a really high percentage.
Right, so
That's a
we've
very
had
high
really good
percentage.
success with what we're doing, so even if that's the recommendation, we're not gonna do it.
Well, it wasn't,
And it's easier than doing it every day.
I don't have time to do it every day. Yeah.
alrighty, yeah, so now we're done. And as soon as this end comes out, you're gonna break your section, so.
Can I start filling it?
Yeah. So me personally, when I'm cleaning the tank, I fill my bucket halfway, and then I'll use our chemical that takes
It's
out
called Prime,
the chemicals.
and Scott bought this one at a pet store for us.
Is that dechlorinating?
Right.
Yeah, and it's the one with the, right, what is it called, bacteria for the tank.
Yeah.
so it has both a dechlorination and a bacteria supplement?
So when I'm cleaning the tank, I have filled this halfway full of clean water, and I just set it over here while I'm waiting.
I can't get it back. This thing doesn't work anymore.
And so this stuff's really powerful. It says it's 1 capful for 50 gallons, and you're not changing out your entire tank. So you're only changing out 5. So I'll show you how much I put in it, because it's.
But if you put more in, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you've got your threads on the inside, and I just barely come up to the one of the top threads, or the bottom thread, sorry. Like, that's all I do for 5 gallons.
And it smells.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because it's got the bacteria in there.
Yeah.
Rotten eggs.
But the bacteria is really important.
Uh-huh.
Fish eat.
So don't put this in your tank, put this in your clean water. You'll just put this in your clean water, and I just give it a swishy, usually.
Is that the technical term?
Swishy, yeah. That's the term.
Swish.
And then now that you've treated this, even though your bucket's not all the way full, you only have to treat this the one time. So, so I'll put this back in here.
How many eggs do you start with?
What was that?
How many eggs do you start with?
200? 180,
It's
200?
somewhere between 150 and,
Yeah, last year he said it was just 150.
it all depends on how many eggs the MWR has to distribute. Another thing that Paul Holden mentioned, and I don't know what your experience is, but he said when you get your tank set up, don't put the chiller on it right away. You let it get to ambient air temperature, and then treat it with some of the bacteria, because the bacteria will do better in warmer water. And then only turn the chiller on about 72 hours before the fish are scheduled to arrive.
We're gonna turn it off. We just have it on because.
Oh, I know, just because of the demonstration, I get that. But when you get your tank, you certainly want to test it to make sure it's not leaking and everything's working and all the hoses are connected properly.
And can I interject? Our custodian loves us and loves our fish tank.
Does he take care of it?
He's the one who set it up for us. And he descales it because it gets all that buildup on it with vinegar. He runs vinegar through the chiller, he runs vinegar through the filters, and he lets it sit with vinegar, and look how clean it is. This is our 5th year with it.
So you do that, descale it at the beginning of
He,
summer?
he did it in November. It looked a hot mess until recently. It looks really good now.
So when you get your eggs, they are just gonna, they'll put your eggs in this basket right here. And you'll want to cover your tank because like David said, they don't like the light.
Sunlight.
So he's gonna provide you with insulation,
Foam
but
insulation.
Are you providing us with foam insulation?
I can if you like. You have a super duper heavy duty chiller. You have a 1/2 horsepower,
Okay.
which is like made for.
The Cadillac of chillers?
It's made for it's literally made for 150 gallons,
Uh-huh.
all right?
So-
And that's why it's lasted as long. But you folks are gonna get either quarter power, 1/4 horsepower chillers. And so in order to prevent excessive wear and tear on the chiller,
That's
You
why
want-
they're getting insulation.
you wanna
We just use
insulate-
black paper.
you just wanna insulate the tank or put some dark cloth over the top of it.
okay, so yours will sit like where our location is, but you'll just feed it through like this.
And if it falls and your eggs go to the bottom of your tank, it's not a huge deal. Like the first year we got the eggs before Christmas break, so my husband and I kept coming and checking on them. And it got to the point, like, some are white because the white eggs are the dead ones and they infect the other eggs. And so he just took the whole thing and just threw it in the bottom so that they weren't touching each other anymore, and we were okay. All right, so
yeah.
just so you know, don't panic if it falls and your eggs go to the bottom, it's not the end of the
So here's what we do is once our eggs are in here, we take the black butcher paper and we just we go all the way around the tank. And then we use a science fair board and we just make like a box top for the top of our
Or
tank.
we just use cardboard.
Or you can use cardboard, whatever you want.
Last year we just-
So it just wants to be super dark in there when you're getting started. And then when you come in to do your tank checks, when you're gonna clean your sock and do your chemical checks, you're just gonna check your eggs. And so we use a baster. So if they're pink, like the pink salmon color, they're healthy, they're good. When you start seeing white spotting, half of an egg is starting to turn white, and it's white, then it's dying. And when those dying eggs, when the dying eggs are next to other fresh, healthy eggs, it spreads the bacteria. So you want to remove the white eggs. So we just
So
use.
you don't agitate them, you don't put the air stone underneath your eggs to agitate them at all then?
We haven't. The only, I usually agitate them with this, Dave, like when I come in to clean, I'll come in and, when you apply air, it moves things underwater. So I'll just come in and I'll kind of swish this and kind of agitate the eggs and move them around so I can see.
Do you think they'd
Which
do better
ones?
if they were above that?
I don't know, it's a good question. I mean,
So you'll see that the eggs are agitated all the time,
Mhm.
as opposed to just you coming in and doing that
Mhm.
once in a while.
So should we flip it to the other side of the tank?
Like
yeah,
over here?
Or move the
Just
move
move this right
the
here.
air,
The air
Oh.
stone's
Air
just
stone over.
underneath
That's a
that,
good
right?
idea.
yeah, right under the tank,
And
like, why
you've
not?
gotta wait,
Whoa.
That
Well,
might be why not.
well,
but
There's-
that, you can
there's
hold that
the-
down.
The only thing I worry about this bubble it's creating is
Yeah.
all the eggs are gonna.
Yeah, that's right. All
Get
the
a
eggs
lot
are
What if we
gonna
put a
roll
little
off.
pet,
but
put a
they're
little rock at the bottom of that
sturdier
net or
ones than
something?
Oh,
this.
but they won't roll, what? I bet they won't roll off this.
Yeah, yeah, with larger holes.
Interesting.
Maybe.
I wonder if we should put half in one and half in the other to test this.
It's all about science,
Yeah, well,
right?
that will,
No, really.
Experimenting and learning.
that will not bubble up.
Because this is just the way the Reform people set up the tank for us. you
Yeah.
know.
I don't know, we've never tried it. We just come in and agitate them with this, and then we.
But you are gonna need to experiment
Yeah.
with the depth of the tank. You don't wanna put your stakes too far down here. You wanna get them pretty close
I
to
wonder
the
if there's a
top.
way to latch them on the tank.
Well, if you
Well,
wanted to
yeah,
get really
yeah,
sexy,
but
they do
clip.
have, They do have
If you could just put a
egg
big,
containers
We've done binder
with a little
clips
agitator
with
that you
the
hook the
camera,
air tube
and
to,
then they get rusted.
and then it makes a little bit of a venturi
But
sort
they,
of current.
because we had to build a stand for the camera to see
oh,
in the
right, yeah, I wonder if you could just put, because this is dry up here, I wonder if you could just put a big wing clip right on there, just fold it down.
That might be a good
Instead
idea.
of a stick.
You might be able to, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe we should have started.
Yeah.
See what happens,
Yeah.
see what happens.
So you'll just come in, you'll do an egg check, pull out any of the white ones. If you want to track it, you can track how many you've taken out so that you kind of have an idea of how many fish you have in there. Like just maybe keep a notebook by your tank or
And there
whatnot.
will be some eggs that will die.
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
come
it's
to
just-
you dead.
Yeah,
They
it's just nature. I mean, they're
That's
not
why I
all.
wanted to see what the natural attrition rate was. It's pretty substantial.
Yeah.
You shouldn't chalk it up to a disaster.
Right.
If you
No, the
lose
first year
over
we thought
half.
like we were really bad fish parents,
Yeah,
you know? Took it
but
personally.
the attrition rate's really, really high. Normally, even if you're doing a good job.
so
And you
yeah,
have to prepare the kids for that too.
No, they love it, and they love when the fish eat each other.
they eat each other
Well,
too.
that, yeah,
He has a
Like
picture
Jurassic
of one
Park.
with its tail, with the tail.
Yeah.
hanging out.
Really?
Yeah.
What
So,
was the healthy egg color again? Pink?
pink,
Pink,
like
yeah.
the salmon.
White is
White's
not
bad.
good. White
White
is
is
bad.
bad.
It's like a Japanese funeral. White is dead.
We'll remember that.
Alright.
Nicole, do you want to talk about what the DWR guy said, what to do with the dead fish? How to dispose of them properly?
Oh yeah, okay, so good point. So if you have dead eggs, dead fish, don't wash them down your sink, just put them in the garbage. Because it affects the environment.
Yeah, he says you should never flush a dead fish.
Yeah, never flush it.
On the toilet?
Yeah. Didn't we all do that as kids?
We all
but don't we still do that?
Well, I don't have fish at
Unofficially.
home, so no.
Alright, did I miss anything?
Just testing the water.
Okay, so Barbara's
Yeah,
gonna
test
show
it.
you how to test it.
Well, this is our new water kit. Our old water kit. Let's use this one.
Ooh, we got a new one. I didn't know that.
So I'm sure the kit David brought two. It has this little chart that shows you what different things mean. Our pH is usually right over in this area on our tank. Okay? And
So let me,
this is the high range pH, and I just test the high
so while
range.
Barbara is explaining this is the chemical test. I didn't buy everybody a chemical kit. What I bought you are strips. And they come in a little tube. And this diagram is on the side of the tube. So you take out a strip, you just put it in the water for a few seconds,
No, take a sample.
take it out,
No,
and then you put it, yeah, you
Don't
put
dip
it,
those strips in
you
the
put it
in the
right
tank.
against the side. You know.
Yeah, don't dip it in the tank though. You take a sample of water, dip the strip
That's
in
why you
that
take the
sample,
sample like
Yes.
this, like watch. You take it from your waterfall filter.
wherever you'd like,
Okay.
but don't dip the
The-
strip straight in the
This
tank.
is the easiest place to get the sample
Yeah.
of water. And you just fill it up, and I always fill it up above the line, and then you just tap it out.
So all you'll do the same thing, but you'll just take your test strip and put it in the
We have an
test
extra
tube,
kit if
and
somebody
then,
wants a kit.
and then you'll just put it up against the side of the, and you'll see, it's very intuitive, you'll just see how it works.
So these bottles are labeled, this is high range pH, this is just
You
pH.
guys will just dip your strip in and then compare it to your chart. Ours is a little different.
But like I said, he just handed me an extra kit, so if somebody wants my extra kit, you can have our extra kit. But some of them have bottle 1 and bottle 2. So this is bottle 1 and bottle 2. And it tells you how many drops to put in right here on each bottle. The kids do this. Yeah, I teach them how to do it, and they do this a lot. They do it to test it. I do it on Fridays before I change the water just to see what my tank is. Like, she does it after, but I like mine to sit. It's just personal preference. And then I test it on Monday morning. So whatever my week is, I test Monday morning when I come over the weekend. If it's off and we need to do a water change Monday, then we do a water change and then I test it again. But all you do is you just hold the bottle like this says, add 10 drops, and it's bottle 1, so you just put.
How often, so you test it every
Monday and Friday.
Monday and Friday?
unless something's gone wonky with our tank. And I don't test low end pH because our tank is not low end pH. And if something's way off, that's when you do a water change that's not prescribed. And if something gets super way off, call your liaison. Don't let all your fish die. My husband's the liaison, he's had the fish die.
And then Scott just calls the janitor or something.
No, he goes in. He goes into parking, yeah. But, so he, yeah, that's the nitrate.
So what did you just put two of the things in?
I put bottle 1 and bottle 2, I put 10 drops of each, I shook it up, they have little caps. You can let them sit, pass them around, let the kids see
So
it.
they have strips for the nitrate, the
And
nitrite, the
here's the
pH for everything.
nitrate right there, so it's good. It's way up. This is good. This is,
good.
something's off. When the eggs are decomposing, the ammonia gets off in the tank. And that's normal, and you see bubbles in the top, and it does settle back down. Have you noticed that?
Well, yeah, if you've got too much nitrogen in there, right? And that's the time that, usually in the case if you haven't let your filter cycle completely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the nitrifying bacteria will take care of that
Mhm.
usually.
But so you just do that for all 3 of the tests, isn't it? 4? Nitrate, ammonia, and
Our pH usually sits around 7, 8.
It's not always, it's not up here, it's down in here. I've seen it go purple once or twice, and it's scary. It's anywhere you want it. But if you change the water, it wants to go back to what it likes to be. Do you already know what's in balance?
So you said if everything is way off, do a big water change?
No, just do a 5.
Just a regular.
Just a regular 5-gallon water change, and if it's off the next day, do it again.
Don't do huge water changes.
Don't do huge
Never
water
more than
changes.
5.
No, we don't.
I think it was our second year, the tank was super milky, like dirty.
Is that the year we had the algae bloom?
Yeah, so like you couldn't, it was like really gross, and
Which
we were
one's
like,
too
we gotta change all the water. And we
pH,
dropped the water to
ammonia,
like
nitrate.
here, and then within the next few days, we lost like half the
But
fish.
this
So if you
is,
change your
this is
water
the
too
one.
dramatically, it just shocks them and they
is
just
the most
go
off for
up.
us. This
Even
is
if
the
it's
higher
super
nitrate
dirty,
goes
just
off
do
more.
your 5
See?
and just
Do
keep,
it
just,
Yeah.
do
Do you want a
it.
picture?
Because it is gonna get nasty at first
It's gonna
anyway,
get
right?
gross, yeah.
To begin with, that's
Don't
normal.
do it every day, just keep doing.
Yeah, me either.
Just
When we
keep
first
doing it
started,
on your
I had no clue. I
Fridays.
was calling the fish.
Check
tanks
it again on
all the time.
Monday, if it hasn't,
ammonia.
don't worry about your color,
Ammonia
worry
can
about
be
your,
about right
your
here.
test,
It
your
doesn't
test,
usually
your
ever
chemical
color my
rates.
fingers out.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's
And I
really
tried
just.
to make a booklet
It will,
for the kids.
it will get
to-
clearer if you
maybe
just,
make
you
it
keep
easier.
cleaning the socks
I've
and you keep
taught
doing
my
your
class
5-gallon
how to
changes,
test
it'll
it.
eventually
Test over time.
clear back out.
And they're
But
always off. 'cause
you
it's
shouldn't
not-
expect the tank to look like that
Right.
all
It's
school
not
year.
going to.
Oh, and the tubes get really dirty, like we had black tubes.
But that's healthy.
Yeah,
That's a good
it
thing.
is.
Good.
It
If your
is.
tank stays like that, you are doing it wrong.
Ours gets
I'm
really
just saying.
funky.
Funky is good.
And you worry because you don't know that it's not supposed to be
For the nitrate, is it the low or the high that's good?
The low. Everything's up here. Down here, you go, oh, something's off. But like I said, I think it's the ammonia one that goes off, or it might be the nitrate one, when the eggs are decomposing. Because they have these little casings, like the eggshells, and they come out of them, and they just kind of hang out in the tank, and all these bubbles happen from science. Is that it? Are we good?
So I have
Questions?
a quick question. Let's say you have some sort of incident in which a child puts suddenly some sort of matter that's very bad, like, and you need to change a lot of water.
You can't.
So,
Can you? You can't. You'll
Well,
kill the fish.
What
It's
type
a,
of matter?
like, I mean, for example, in my small fish tank last year, I had a student who dumped a jar of salsa in. I mean, he is a
Dumped
student
what?
who that sort of
Salsa.
Oh,
salsa.
God.
Oh my gosh! How do you get that out?
Well, I mean, I just had, it was just a little beta fish. So then I just quickly grabbed a jar and said, everyone must be so still so that I could save the fish's life. And it was silent. Did you save the fish? And, you know, but it's a beta fish, so that was easy.
There's just one
A
fish. to
jar
say.
of salsa.
Yes.
Was it spicy salsa?
Things you thought you'd never have to say. as a
Exactly. So I'm just curious, like,
Spicy or mild?
you know, if something,
I would go hurry with the strainer first, do everything you can with your strainer first. And then let your socks pick up a lot of the gunk, because they will take them off, rinse them, put them back on, take them off, rinse them, just do it continually for a little while.
So the salsa example though, that is a catastrophic event.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it is.
Only
Oh, it
because the acid in
And
the
then salsa would kill
salsa
the tank.
will, it will mess with your pH. You have to take water out.
How much do you have to take out then?
At least half. Well, it depends on how big it, I mean, if we're talking the thermonuclear regular jar of salsa,
Like this
right?
big or this big?
It's not the
right?
food surface one, but you would need to take at
Why did he
least
have a
half.
jar? of
Wow.
Well, it was from
Multiple
the lunch,
days.
the school lunch.
Okay.
And then you should send the
Just bring
bill
salsa to school.
Yeah, to the parents.
to the parents. Dear parents, your child was the cause of the death of this entire tank.
So I guess with that question too, I mean, we have a lot of students with special needs, and that's where these sorts of incidents occur. And so the
We
way-
figured that.
Yes, the way that ours is going to be set up is that it's going to be in a common space.
So is ours,
And-
and we just needed a point
Okay.
that all the teachers
There
are
are very aware.
respectful.
There's glass lids you can buy that just leave enough open for your equipment in the back. I have one on my tank at
Okay.
home. So it's full.
And that's actually very helpful with water
Yeah,
chemistry as
it'll-
well.
Okay.
Because it doesn't let things get.
Yeah,
Well, and you can also
so-
put.
Well, just when the water evaporates, I mean, you guys, you'll take water out, so that's not a big deal, but if it evaporates, then you just pour water back in, you're introducing more hardness into that water, right? And that's changing your